Hey everyone, Vanny Ryan here again. Uh, oh, well, you try doing it this hard when you got only one hand holding this. I'll probably come back to doing this for a minute here. I really want to get. I love that Supergirl poster that I actually literally found when I was volunteering. Uh, I volunteered at a thrift store for about. Hold on, okay, I'm OCD. Obviously, you can tell that. Uh, I actually found that poster at a thrift store I was volunteering. I volunteered there for about 2, 3 years, and weirdly enough, there was like a huge pile of movie posters that I think they were actually going to throw away. And I said, "Oh well, I'll take those if you're not going to sell them." Or I think I bought them for like about $3, about 12 posters worth, and I kept about seven of them. I think there were like 12, 13 in all. And I kept about seven of them. And three are actually still folded up somewhere in the closet. I framed two. I framed the Supergirl poster, and I framed uh, the Fly, Cronenberg's Fly, because that's a great poster. Oh, but what am I talking about posters for? If you've seen up there, you can tell what this is going to be about. Um, I, I I'm not one to like really cry about like celebrity passings and stuff like that, but one that did affect me 5 years ago was the loss of the late great Robin Williams. The guy was a hero to me, like back when I was a kid. The first Robin Williams movie I ever saw was Hook, which has kind of been like hit or miss for me over the years. I think they did some problem. I think it has problems, but the intent is still like more important than anything else. I still enjoy the performances, especially Robin Williams. Um, but today I'm going to talk about my personal favorite Robin Williams film, and it's one that was like kind of looked over. I think it was discussed, but it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't a big critical. I think it got a lot of bad reviews, and it wasn't like a real success in theaters. But it's actually been going through like a bit of a revival of interest because when I noticed this film on YouTube, there were actually a good number of reviews on it. So I'm going to talk about my favorite Robin Williams movie, Toys. Now, what is it that I love about Toys? Well, one for the biggest thing, I love the idea that it's kind of like Robin Williams playing like a kind of Willy Wonka, except it's a Willy Wonka with toys instead of candy. And it's all about this whole family dynamic where like his uh, army career uncle has like taken over the business and is completely changing things around. Um, I think that some people just don't get this movie really because it is so much a line between serious and incredibly silly. Uh, it does feel a lot like a Disney movie. In fact, this was actually in concept for like nearly a decade at Disney. Even Tim Burton mentions that he was a conceptual artist on it when it was officially a Disney film. But there's still some aspects of that now, even though it's a 20th Century Fox film, which again has gone back to Disney. So like karma, I guess. Um, what I especially love about this with Robin Williams is the fact that this is probably the movie that caught two of his most usual sides. If you saw a Robin Williams movie, you expect something that's going to be crazy, insane, but funny, or you're going to see something that's like heartwarming or dramatic. It kind of played both to certain aspects, and of course, that's partly because it was the dream project of writer director Barry Livingston, who started off as a stand-up comedian and a comedy writer for Mel Brooks on his films. Uh, but he went on to like become an Oscar-winning director for Rain Man, and a lot of his movies play on that line between serious and hilarious. And Toys is probably like his ultimate stand on that. Uh, I actually love how the practical effects of this movie look. This was like really where I could look at all of this stuff and say like, I wish this stuff was in a toy store. I would love to see some of this stuff in real life. I don't think I could afford it because like I was a I was a broke kid. Uh, I wouldn't say we were a poor family, but we were pretty much on that level. One of the things that I do especially love about this movie now, watching it today, is that not only was Robin Williams doing like a perfect blend between insane, silly, and heartfelt, dramatic, all of the cast of this movie are very much that. Dumbledore himself, Michael Gambon, is the villain of the piece, but it's in a way that you can understand where he's coming from. And as the movie goes on, he becomes a lot more nuts, almost to the fact where, like you said, oh yeah, Robin Williams and this guy could be related. And his son is played by LL Cool J, and another guy who is like taking this so seriously, and yet that seriousness turns into silly really quick because he's got a running gag where like he's hiding in plain sight and like nobody can find him and stuff like that. Robin Wright. Yeah. Okay. She is, of course, known today as Forrest Gump's Ginny. She was known as Princess Buttercup in The Princess Bride, and I think she kind of held her own against like Robin Williams. She is being kind of a silly, but I kind of love the fact that she's more of an innocent in this whole idea that like is also more experienced with real life than Robin Williams' character is. I love the music, the score by Hans Zimmer, years before Inception, all of that. Oh, his music is so good here, and the soundtrack is great. I love the way that they make this like very silly, kind of like It's a Small World After All kind of style of song for the working place, and then they kind of hip hop it into like this almost threatening. It's hoo ha, hoo ha, hoo ha, and I kind of like I love that as a kid, and I love it even more now. Apart from that, this movie, I think some people would say it kind of falls flat, like near the third act. I think it keeps it well enough to where like the two sides still blend in that level. And what can I say? This is just like an insane movie that just works so well on like presenting like the way you wish. I think lots of people would love to like be in a business kind of like this kind of thing. Is it satire of that kind of style? Not really. It's kind of like just being its own kind of tribute to that kind of like silliness. But in many reasons, that's why it works well, because this movie came out like the year after Hook. So we had like a movie where like Robin Williams was playing an adult, learning to be a kid again, learning to be the most famous kid again. And then you come to Toys, where like he's playing this very silly adult that learns you don't have to destroy the way you see the world in order to take more responsibility. And I kind of like that message, and it's an important one, especially like in any form of business that you try to take on. So yeah, that is my favorite Robin Williams movie of all time. And if you've not seen it, check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. I think you will. So have a good time, everybody. Bye.